This was a social experiment where they took an amount of kids and they asked them to identify which of the dolls was the bad doll or the ugly doll. It was a white doll and a black doll. And I think it is very important to identify or to be aware that this is a thing that happens in society in general. And in the experiment on the book, they talked about how asking people, black people first, to identify their race, make them have a lower desarrollo, performance on their exam. So they have this auto-imposed stereotype that only white males from private schools can be intelligent, which is not a reality. But that's all.
Another concept is the adaptive unconscious. This is a thing we have in our mind that is what it acts very quickly and it's essential to survival. For example, if you're going to a street and a car is going to you, you immediately move because your brain tells you to do that, but you don't think that much. Because if you think that much, you will not have time to move. And there's a medical thing that's called PPC, that it's a part of the brain that some people get damaged in there, so they don't act as quickly as other persons. And the author said that sometimes it's better to don't think rationally, that it's better to adapt like unconscious because it can help you in your life because it's an automatic process.
And then there's the priming experiment that created the psychologist John Barr, and these men made like various types of these priming experiments, and it just tells us what happens behind our unconscious. And there's a video that I wanted to prove because it's actually the experiment.
You do want to put it?
Yeah, so I can show you how it works, and it's gonna test all of us.
Let's see. Play it.
Pero no todo el tiempo, más cuando
Just let's see if the audio is okay. I just want to be very sure the audio is fine.
Miss, you don't need audio.
You don't need audio.
No, you just need to read it.
Okay, please.
Please cut. So this is basically the experiment that was in the chapter.
By free. How do they know?
And that's
Yeah.
basically the experiment.
You wanna see the video?
The
Of
other
those?
ones?
If it's not necessary, I think not, because we have a test. If it's part of your presentation, of course. But if it's unnecessary, no. If you want, it's part of your presentation, go ahead.
We have this supposed myth of the awareness of the unconscious. And that's a myth because we actually can't assure exactly why we think unconsciously by the time we think about it. It's a pretty deep concept, but for example in the judgment of O.J. Simpson, one of the judges said that race was not a factor of her result, or her verdict. But how can she know that? It was like really impossible and to do that because you also are like unconsciously making this assertion, and also there are times when somebody can give like some advice or some instruction that make our perceptions go wrong, like absolutely wrong or minimal wrong, but we don't know exactly because our conscience mind is like trying to concentrate, but due to ambiental factors and other things we don't concentrate. For example, in the lecture there was a test group. Group A was given 5 minutes to think about the test, and the group B were given 5 minutes to think about football hooligans. So they score less than the other team because their conscience mind was unable, partially because of the things that they were thinking. Also, another thing that it's quite interesting is about the storytelling things that my companions will later explain.
Yes, I'm gonna talk to you about the storytelling problem in the chapter. And basically, I'm gonna tell you a case about about a tennis coach that had this experience with top tennis players. Yes. Basically, he made a research where he asked the players what they do to be very successful in the sport, and he realized that everyone like the explanations of the players didn't match their actions. Like they always said something just to say it, and that's why this research tests that human beings come up with explanations just to say something in the moment, even if it's not what it really is. And yes, that's why I put this here. That we have as human beings a storytelling problem. We're a bit too quick to come up with explanations for things we don't really have an explanation for. And that's it.